How are you doing, Euruko? Yeah? Nice. Did you get your coffee? Great. All right. So, who am I? I'm Carmine Paolino. You can call me Carmine. It's okay. I'm the creator of Chat with Work, where RubyLLM was extracted from. I was also a co-founder of another company in AI as well. And I've been a Ruby enthusiast since 2010. When I saw Ruby the first time, I fell in love with it. But then I went to study AI, became a data scientist, machine learning engineer and scientist. And so I've been in the Python AI world for a long time. And Python owns AI. And it owns AI for a reason. Because AI was about training models. And we had NumPy, we had SciPy, we had scikit-learn, TensorFlow, you name it. But now, AI is this. It's API calls. And it's great, because that means that we can actually focus on other things. AI development today is more about building great products. And who is good at building great products than Rubyists? So I want to show you that RubyLLM with Rails is the one API, one person, one machine framework for AI. Let's first dismantle some myths or some mind viruses. Oh, there you go. How many of you has heard this or some kind of version of this? Few? All right. You need a complex agent framework or you're not doing real AI. Well, that's bullshit. I'm going to show you why. Let's look at a simple chat with Python LangChain. This is actually from their first tutorial, so don't mind me if there's this weird get pass in there. So here we're importing some stuff, then we're getting the OpenAI API key, initiating the chat model, and then creating these messages with human message, object, content, hello, then model.invoke messages. Does it have to be this way? I don't think so. I think AI can be simple, and it should be natural. Let's look at another example. This is prompt templates. You know, I've been asked many times in the repo, when are you going to have prompt templates? And I always say no, and this is why. Here's prompt templates in LangChain. You need to import the chat prompt template class, then initialize it from messages. There's a bunch of like arrays and tuples and whatever. And then you need to format these messages, and then you need to initialize the chat model and blah, 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 and invoke it. This is how to do it in RubyLLM. Turns out we have Ruby that has templates for text. Crazy, right? It's just 2 lines of code. So please, don't drink the complexity tonic by Dr. LangChain, okay? It has 10,000 classes, so that's when you know it's serious. Here's another example. So they claim to be the one framework that you can use with all the different models out there, and it has one interface. Well, that's bullshit too. Look at this. In order to find the usage, actually, can you guys spot where the usage, the amount of tokens that we used in these conversations are? Yeah, they're there, right? This is with GPT-4o Mini. Let's look at with Claude 3.7. Completely different response. Now they're here. So your code will be a bunch of if statements or a bunch of other classes that need to parse this anyway. And let's look at with Gemini. It's nowhere to be found. What? I think there's a better way. This is how we do it in RubyLLM. You have the chat.ask method, and then input and output tokens. You want to change to 3.7 Sonnet. It's always there. Same thing with Gemini. It's actually there. What about multimodality? Here's how to do it in LangChain. Which, by the way, I had to search for a blog post in order to find this. Anyway, here we're just importing some models, some code, and then we're fetching the URL, the image URL, and then we're encoding it in base 64. Then we're initializing the chat model. Then we have to create this whole structure with a dictionary. It's a hash in Python lingo. With role user, content, and then an array, and then type text describe this weather in this image. Then you have to know how to do this. And then you can finally invoke it to your LLM. This is how to do it in RubyLLM. Require RubyLLM. Image URL is this. And then you just pass it on the with parameter of the ask method. That's it. I think what we need is clean abstractions at the right level, not this complexity theater. And this is the reason why we have that complexity theater. It's the merchants of complexity. David has told us this many, many times, and it's true. Look at their page. It sells an enterprise support package. Their documentation is pretty bad, and they want you to pay for you to actually make your code good. Another myth. You need to use the official SDKs. This is more of a corporate thing. Usually you hear it in corporates saying, like, you need to use the official SDK because this is the most supported, blah, blah, blah. Well, in AI, it's Christmas every day. We get many, many models all the time. You know, I switched from Gemini 2.0 to Claude 3.7, then GPT 4.1, and then Gemini 2.5, then Claude 4, et cetera, et cetera. And every time I had to switch, I don't know what's happening with that. Every time I had to switch, I had to re-implement the API with the provider APIs, I would have been dead. If you can't switch fast, you're dead. So I built RubyLLM, and I built it on 5 principles. And this is the philosophy. Simple should be simple, and complex should be possible. Models and providers are commodities. Convention over configuration, of course, and progressive disclosure. And finally, one API, one person, one machine. Linux is great, guys. Like, use it. This is not Linux. I love Linux, by the way. Oh, very nice. Simple should be simple. This, we've seen it already, but we haven't seen with the official provider SDKs. This is still Python, but you know the gist. And this is the official OpenAI Python library. Still quite a bit of code for a simple hello. We can go one step further in this. If you're using the default model. Complex should be possible, though. This is 20 lines of code, and believe it or not, there are 4 agents working in this 20 lines of code. So we have a code review, multi-agent system. The first agent is a security reviewer using Claude Sonnet 4. Second agent is doing performance review with GPT 4.1. Third agent is doing style review with GPT 4.1 Mini. They're all doing it at the same time, concurrently, with async. And then there is a 4th agent that is summarizing these code reviews. 20 lines of code, 4 agents. You don't need complexity. Models are commodities. We've seen this before. If you say you want to have Claude Sonnet 4, it's going to use the Anthropic API in the backend automatically, because we know which models are from which providers. And if you switch it to Gemini 2.5 Flash, it's going to switch also which API is going to use. And they're completely different APIs. Well, don't worry. We're going to handle that for you. Also, you may want to switch the provider, but having the same model. Let's say you want to use Vertex AI version of Gemini 2.5 Flash. This is how to do it. That's it. OpenRouter is an OpenAI compatible provider. And again, another type of API, same model. This is how to use local models with Ollama. Very, very simple. And not only that, we support 11 providers right now. We're planning to support more. We support any OpenAI compatible one, so probably there are way, way more than just 11. We have 620 models in our model registry, all under one single API. Not only that, Ollama and GPU Stack are local model providers, and GPU Stack supports all of the Hugging Face models and all of the model scope models, which are thousands of models. And our model registry has cost and capabilities tracking, so you know actually how much you're spending. I used to spend a lot of time trying to find this information and documentation of the providers, and we have it all in RubyLLM in the model registry. Thank you. Also thanks to Parsera, who's doing the grunt work of actually parsing the documentation and providing us with an API that we can actually use in RubyLLM for this. There's one more thing. So let's say you're chatting with an AI, and you don't like their responses so much. You want to change mid-conversation. You can, with just chat.webModel. Basically, you're going to have 4 messages, one from you, one from GPT-5, one from you, and one from Gemini 2.5 Flash in the same conversation. Convention over configuration. We know about this, right? We've seen this before already. RubyLLM.chat.ask already knows what is your default model, is going to use that. But also the paint method is going to use the default model. The embed method, so you can do embeddings as well. And the moderate method, so you can moderate your content. All very easy, the least amount of keywords possible. Here's the other concept, progressive disclosure. So we start with that, and let's say we want to add some system prompt. I don't think system prompt is a nice name, so I call it instructions. So it's chat.with instructions. Let's say you want to add an image of a Euruko logo. Here's how to do it. Let's say you want to add 2 images. You know, you can actually add audio, you can add PDFs, you can add text, and you can also add videos from one of the latest releases, the last release. You want to change the temperature. Pretty simple. You want to add parameters to our payload. You can do that very simply. So if you have a feature that you want to use in your LLM that we don't support, you can simply add it that way, like JSON mode, for example. And you can add headers as well. What if you want to do function calling? So you simply do this. You subclass from tool, and then you add a description for your tool. It's very important to do a good description here, because your LLM needs to understand what your tool is for. You add the parameters, and you add an execute function with those parameters. And this is actually working code. It's cut, obviously, but you can go on the website and copy-paste it, and actually this works and retrieves you the weather of Viana. And that's it. You just add .with tool. We also have structured output support. And thanks to the RubyLLM schema gem, which is a companion gem made by Daniel Fries, we have this beautiful DSL. I believe is the best DSL in Ruby for creating JSON schemas. And it's very, very simple. Let's say you want to have a product schema with a name, a price, and an array of features. As simple as that, .with schema. We also have a Rails integration. In fact, you can go from 0 to a chat UI in less than 2 minutes. Let me show you. OK, so we're making a new Rails app. Needs to install everything. This is real time. We're going there, adding RubyLLM. And now we're going to use the install generator in order to create all the migrations and all the models that we need. And we do Rails DB migrate. And it's actually also loading the models from our model registry into your DB, so then you can query them. Here's where I get a message from Greg Molnar because of the API key. Don't worry. And this is how to chat. So we just do chat.create is the same as RubyLLM.chat, but it's an active record. And we're saying hello to GPT 4.1 Nano in a few seconds. Now we can continue the conversation. There we go. Hello to the kind folks at Euruko. We're respecting the last chat, and here are the messages, all stored in active record for you. You have to do absolutely nothing. Let's see the model. And as you can see, we have all the modalities, all the capabilities, and all the pricing for that model that has been used for that chat. And we have also all the models that you can query, so you can see which one is the cheapest, which one has the different capabilities that you need. OK, how about we make it actually a UI? We have a generator. It's Chat UI generator. And let's actually run it. Switch to our browser. We go to /chats. And we already have the chats from before. Here's how they look like. It's not meant to be beautiful. It's just like a Rails generator. And we're continuing the conversation. And it's all with Hotwire and Turbo. Let's make a new chat. What's the best programming language? Please say Ruby. And here we go. We also have tokens that stream inside the browser already. Here, I just want to argue a little bit, because it didn't say that Ruby is the best. Yeah, didn't tell me that I'm absolutely right this time. I think it's a different model. So this is the models interface. Very, very simple. But it shows you how much they cost. And there is a refresh models button that refreshes all the models when they come up. And here's the code. So this is the model. You just add access model, and you have all the facilities you need in order to store the models. This is the message model. I removed that empty line. It's a broadcast to message, and then there's an access message, and just some attachments. And this is the chat. It has access chat, which adds all the methods that we need in order to have that. And then tool call, also access tool call, adds all the methods we need. Let's look at the controllers of that. So as you can see, the refresh as model.refresh. Simple as that. We handle all of that for you. Anytime now. There you go. We have also the chats controller. Very, very simple. It's just these lines of code, and we go up, and we just create a new chat, and then we invoke a chat response job with the prompt and the chat ID. Simple as that. Let's look at the chat response job. So we find the chat, and then we use chat.ask. And here we have a streaming block in which we get every single chunk that comes in, and we simply update it inside the content of the message. Don't do this in production. This is not great. But this is just for simplicity and showing you how simple it can be to make it work. Let's look at the messages controller. Pretty simple again. Just a chat response job. And that's it. We have a full chat UI in less than 5 minutes with all this mucking around that we did. But that's the scale. Turns out LLM communication is just I/O bound, and it's long running. So you need to be a little bit careful about this in terms of what background job workers you use. So if you use a worker-based job queue, well, if you have 100 chats, you will consume 100 workers. which means, and also you will have a DB connection pool that needs to add 100 connections to the DB connections pool. Now, your 101 client is going to wait. Like, he wrote his own prompt, and he's going to wait in there. And each worker, unfortunately, is not doing much, is not doing almost anything. It's just waiting for the next token. Instead, if you use a sync job, which is fiber-based, doesn't have a max workers, well, 100 chats means 100 fibers. You don't need a bigger connection, DB connection pool, and it uses your resources efficiently, because you can do it all concurrently. This is a big topic, guys. I cannot go into this in this presentation, but I have a link to my blog. There's a little bit more explanation there, or find me in the hallway there. And that's all you need in order to scale. Simply replace Puma with Falcon, replace whatever job queue adapter you have with a sync job, and then replace whatever whatever cable adapter you have with a sync cable. You need this because a PR wasn't merged. And then this initializer. That's it. No code changes needed, and you can scale. So that's it. This is RubyLLM, which is the one API for one person and one machine for thousands of users. But don't take my word for it. So when I started coding RubyLLM in like February this year, I did it for myself. I did it for Chat with Work, and then I extracted into a gem. I released it the 11th of March, and I expected maybe 300 stars. 4 days later was the #1 story on Hacker News. This is actually funny. It's the 4th biggest story on Hacker News about Ruby. And this is the star history. We got to 1,700 stars in 1 week, and 2,900 stars today, and 3 million downloads. So it means that people want this. Again, more bragging. And this is what developers are saying. I love these quotes, actually. So RubyLLM is a better tool than any other Python library I used before. Yes, exactly, you got it. RubyLLM is such a cool gem. I started using it today and got it running in less than 3 minutes. And these are from my survey. RubyLLM is pretty much the device of this generation. And we got our proof of concept up in 1 day, got the first version into beta testing in about a week. Love it. And it's used at these companies and many more. These are just the companies that have responded to my survey and have actually agreed to put their logos in there. And there's some big ones like ZipChat, Startup Jobs, Quora, and this is amazing. Just from these companies, I could tell that more than 500,000 people are actually using RubyLLM as users of these products. Guys, this is our time. Python and JavaScript have dominated the AI app world. But we have Rails. We have RubyLLM. We have the tools that can make you go from hello to ChatGPT to IPO with one person and one machine and one API. And you know, when we freed ourselves from complexity, back when Rails came up, this community built Twitter, GitHub, Basecamp, Shopify. Rails changed the world, the web app world. Now we have the chance to change the AI app world. Thank you.